And we're up. Good evening, people. How are we tonight? All five of us. Bit of lag, but sounds right. That's working up there. Well, I'm definitely not going to last long tonight, people, as you can hear. Um, my throat is really bad, and my breathing's just as bad as well. So, but we'll see how we go. Good evening, Stuart. Hope you're feeling better than me, mate. I'll let a few more come in. We got 10 in here now. Good evening, guys. Sorry for about the roughness, but yeah, I'm suffering quite badly this week in all respects. I have to take some painkillers earlier again as well, which is something I don't do on a regular basis. Marines, good evening. How's you? Well, we've had a lot going on this week, haven't we? In the world of politics. We'll get all that out the way to start with. I mean, obviously the big one that everybody's covering is the firearms officer that got acquitted of murder in the Chris Cabba case. I haven't got too much to say on that. I'm still on the fence on what happened. Yes, it's the same here. When I see him like that, mate, the first thing I say is, yeah, okay, you're getting your jab, weren't you wearing your masks? But something has come out of the Chris Cabba case. That sounds like weird, isn't it? Cabba case. Never mind. With the Home Secretary making a statement today about it. Now, they're going to reform police procedures on reporting misconduct, etc. They're not happy with the way the IOPC have been operating, and they're not happy with the way some of the police forces have been operating. Well, obviously, we've not been happy with them for a long time. But she was saying that they want to make it easier to get rid of bad coppers. Good evening, Serality, which again is something we've been saying for a long time. Rowley said he was going to do it, but they've still got that many of them on the list that they're still paying, but they can't put on frontline duties because they can't trust them. Why are they still there? Anonymity for police that are being investigated. Well, that in a way I do agree with. As she said, at least until the case is finished. You know, if they're found guilty, yeah, publicise who they are, where they're from, what they did. But in my mind, that should also go for members of the public. The members of the public that are up in court for anything should not have their details put out there. Although the court and the papers and the government seem to take delight in doing this, as they did around the ones that were fast-tracked over the so-called summer of riots, a couple of days in a few areas. I wouldn't exactly call it the summer of fucking riots, but good evening, Jen. You know, I mean, this on top of the Peter Lynch case, which obviously is headline news if you think about it, although mainstream media don't seem to want to talk about it, nor does the government for that matter, other than Oh God, what's her name? Anne Widdecombe said absolutely he should have been in jail. Really? Really? He should have been in jail when paedophiles, child abusers, women abusers, violent criminals get suspended sentences. He deserved to be in jail for holding up a placard. Just because he was at a protest that turned into a riot doesn't mean to say he took part in it. You know, if that's right, then she should be shouting at all the pro-Hamas protesters.
That Labour MP.
What you on about?
The one that was shouting.
Yeah, I'll get to that. Yeah. Now, if you'd let me finish the segment, I've got that written down here, actually.
My apologies. I can't see.
Now, again, as Heather just brought up, which I was actually going to bring into the mix in a minute, you got Anne Widdecombe shouting at that. Yes, he should have been in. Right. Anne Widdecombe. So why, if you think that way, why is Peter Jones, a Labour councillor, still out on bail for actually saying that people should have their fucking throats cut? That's a bit more than holding up a placard. And why aren't all the Hamas supporters carrying their placards, which is an illegal organisation, a terrorist organisation, which is on the list, the government list? Shouldn't they be locked up? Just saying, you know. One thing, I mean, she's done reform quite a lot of harm with that statement. Ricky Jones, that's it, Stuart, with the symbol. Oh God, I've lost where I am and my fucking memory's getting terrible. But yeah, Farage hasn't come out and said anything about this. No. Because of that, a lot of people are saying they're going to switch from Reform to UKIP. You know, Farage was all the big one when it started. He's saying all the right words. But then when it comes to somebody that stands up and is prepared to do something about them words, he doesn't say a word. He doesn't back them. No, I don't think he killed himself either, Sorality. He had no reason to, unless there was some underlying mental health issues there that we haven't been told about. We know that anybody that was protesting around that time, again, the so-called summer of riots, I wish they'd fucking stop calling them that. Most prisons are run by Muslim gangs. We know that. So literally, by putting all these people in prison, you know, one's for hurty words on Facebook, etc., they're putting their lives at risk by putting them in there. Yes, Stuart, he's not reading the room. He's not reading the room. I always said the only reason Farage jumped on the cases and got back involved was basically, I like what he says, but he basically hijacked what Active Patriot and Tracy were doing down in Dover at the time. Stu, good evening. You know, he jumped on the first boat to go out into the channel to film these people simply because he saw how popular Active and Tracy's videos were getting, with hundreds of thousands of views and people backing them. But he is doing a good thing of tearing the Tories apart. He did well to take the seats off of them, and it looks like they're getting more favours. But if he's not going to back up what he's saying, then yes, people will switch over to UKIP. They won't go back to the Tories. They're just too much trouble. We've had enough of them. But we'll see where it goes for the rest of the week. Yeah, exactly, Stuart. There was a little bit of trouble. Okay, there was one hotel that was set alight. And I do agree that people shouldn't have acted like that. That is never, ever going to get anything done. You've got to go through the proper channels. It's the only way to get anything done. You know, if you start taking the law into your own hands like that, you're going to end up in trouble yourself. And one or two of those, I would say, with the violence they show, do deserve to be behind bars. Not as much as child abusers and pedos, but, you know, and some of which have been let back out on the streets again today. Can't really get my head around gangs in prison. How can we expect to be? Well, prison, they always build it as a place of reform art. They never have been. The only way you're going to give up a life of crime, whether you've been in prison or not, is if because you want to, for yourself. Nothing they're going to teach you in there will ever persuade you. In fact, it's more likely to be the opposite, because these gangs will teach you, if you want, how to be a better criminal. Good evening, Russell. Well, that's the thing, Russell, yeah. But the real criminals do need to be locked up. Absolutely. Again, the Tories let us down. They had 14 years to build these new super prisons they were on about. Hasn't happened. You know. And again, good evening, Karen. A lot of the prisoners in prisons nowadays are foreigners. Now, if they've been convicted of a crime, kick them out of the country. Send them back to their own country. Let them deal with them. Let their people pay for them. Because don't forget, they're not just soaking up prison places. They're soaking up the money from us, the taxpayers, to keep them in prison. If they got rid of them, there'd be plenty of places left in there for our own criminals. But anyway, getting back to the police reform, yes, they're going to make it easier and more open about reporting the police. They're going to have an independent review body, as well as the IOPC, to oversee all this. They're going to make it easier for the CPS to prosecute bad police officers. But again, this is all bullshit that's been put out there before. They want things in place where the police forces actually learn by their mistakes. Well, for the last 14 years, we've been hearing them say, we will learn from our mistakes, and they don't seem to be doing it. So I don't see how they're going to change their minds. You know, sending them back to police school, police college, or whatever it is to relearn ain't going to happen. If they're taught it to start with, they shouldn't need reteaching. It's just going to keep going round in a vicious circle. The police will get away with anything they want just by apologising and saying sorry. We won't do it again. The only way they're going to learn is if they get fucking sacked. But as we know, that goes round in a circle for courts. Courts get delayed. Things get put back years. So they think people have forgotten about it, and then they just get dropped. It's not particularly the police of college, police in college. It's when they get out meet the existing uniform officers, that's where their training starts, on the ground. They don't teach them fuck all at college. They just teach them to be little good yes people. Hello, Holly. Yeah, no worries, darling. They actually learn the craft of policing by standing besides existing officers. Yeah, but it's who do you get in there, Stu? If they find somebody that's an undercover that's poking in and around them, it's going to be bad for them, isn't it? It's like I said, everybody says there's still good coppers out there. I don't believe there is. Because if they cover up for their mates, then they're not a good copper. And any of them that do whistle blow, and I know of one personally who literally had to leave the force because of the harassment he was getting because he whistleblowed on somebody. I won't go into it. But yeah, and even after he's left the force, they continued to harass him and his family. But there you go. And that's just one of the things that's been going on at the moment. Obviously, I will be covering it up. Covering it up. That sounds bad, doesn't it? Covering it in future videos, I expect.
No, don't put it out there to the world. You cover it up.
You wouldn't get away with it, Stuart. Not with them. Not a chance. Not all of them are Masons. Reality, I need top brass. But there again, well, let's get back to Starmer sending people over to America to interfere with the elections over there. As soon as the news broke, he turned around and said, "Oh no, they're going over there on their own time." Well, Parliament is still sitting. How are these people going over there on their own time? Surely they should be working in Parliament.
Some paid leave.
Yeah, but you shouldn't be taking unpaid leave for something like that. And there was a comment today. I can't remember who brought it up. Someone had a comment on their channel. Starmer should never be involved in foreign politics. No, he shouldn't even be involved in home politics. He shouldn't be involved in ours the way he is. So, was it Silver? Oh, I can't remember now. Hot Picks or something his name is. Little old fella, similar to me, just sits in front of the camera, but he'll do a dozen or so little clips through the day. But he seems quite popular. But Starmer's now been out and done this deal with the the Germans. It seems that Silver Fox, that's it, Stuart, thank you. The Germans are going to be matching the Americans and having people from their military based over here. Now, is this the start of Starmer trying to bring together the EU army, as they were talking about? All the EU countries together in one force? We're not supposed to be part of the EU, are we? Just a thought on that. But to be honest, we need some more defence in this country and someone that will defend us, simply because the fuckers that went before Starmer sold our army down the drain, and both governments have been giving our armament away to the fucking Ukraine. Yeah, it would be. They would take over. I mean, it looks like they've already got the British Army on the streets in London to cover for the armed police that have fucked off over the Cabba case. To be honest, I would trust the army on the streets more than the police. Yeah. But, you know, they're saying if the coppers can't do their jobs, well, as far as I'm concerned, and from what I could see, the copper that shot Cabba was never in any danger. Apparently, he could clearly see both his hands on the steering wheel. Yes, the car was trying to ram its way out, but he wasn't in immediate danger of death. Yeah, Stuart, I was going to get onto that in a minute. Said he tried to disable him. Well, shooting someone in the middle of the fucking forehead is a bit more than disabling, but hey, the case has been done. The jury has made their decision. And luckily it was a jury, not just a judge. Otherwise he'd have probably been slated, but there you go. No, that's all right, Stuart. I was going to bring that up because obviously with everything that's going on with the Middle East and Hamas and Lebanon and all that bollocks, this country is on quite a high terror alert. Now, the suspected package, I'll call it, at Birmingham Airport was a vehicle, from what I understand. Might be all innocent. It might be someone who's just fucked off and parked it in the wrong place. You know, but they can't take any chances. Now, I've always said you don't need to plant a bomb, to blow things up, to kill people, to be a terrorist. The very nature of terrorism, there goes the camera, first one, freezing of the night, yeah. And now the other one ain't fucking working. What is going on here? Oh, now we've got two working. Okay. Oh, sorry about this, guys. This seems to be a recurring problem. And it only seems to be a problem on the live. That other camera works perfectly at any other time. But yes, you don't need to kill people to be a terrorist. Making them think they're in danger by leaving a package, unattended car, still terrorism. Because by its very nature, you are causing people to be in terror and in fear. And that's the essence of the word terrorism. But that was that one. That was breaking news earlier today. What else have we got on my list before I open the panel up, see if anybody wants to come up? Tommy Robinson's back in the country and he hasn't been arrested. Good evening, Stitch. Surprise, surprise. Well, they couldn't really, because it's a civil case that he's being tried for next week. Unless they try and lift him on false pretenses for something else. You know, they could say he's under a flight risk, but there you go. At the moment, he's still on the street and he still intends to attend the rally in London. For once, I'd like to have gone. But with my health issues, I'd stand no chance. For a start, with some of the tablets I'm on, I need to go to the pisser every half an hour because I'm on water tablets. But if anybody is going, stay safe up there. Don't do anything stupid. As they're saying, don't cover your face. Don't cause any shit. Be as peaceful as you can. And just show them that it's not patriots that are the issue in this country. Although Channel 4 and Hope Not Hate will have you think differently. But again, as people have been pointing out, Tommy is up for contempt of court for showing his video. So should Channel 4 be up to in court as well, being as they showed some clips of it? I believe so. But I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not going to dive into what's happening there, but I will be watching Saturday. I dare say there'll be plenty of live streams up. But then we've got the up and coming budget now, haven't we? Now, everything that Labour have been putting out and leaking seems to be that a lot of taxes are going up. Yeah, it was a damp squid, Stuart. I did watch it, or most of it. But they got nothing. They were trying to kind of answer his video, and it was just a bodge job. One little guy running around, oh, you're far left, you're far right, this, that, and the other. There was no investigation, not like Tommy's one. I will say that. It was an absolute hatchet job. But yeah, the budget, they've been hinting, leaking, putting stories out there about the horror rises we're going to see in taxes. Well, it's not just the taxes. Now, they're probably going to let fuel go way up, petrol, diesel. I've seen quoted somewhere 7p a litre. Now, if petrol and diesel goes up by that amount, that is going to have a big effect on what we pay in the shops for food, whatever. Because hauliers will have to cover those costs. And that is a big rise, 7p a litre. So it's going to, cost of living is going to get even worse. You know, we know supermarkets can afford to soak up a certain amount of price rise with the amount of profit they've been making. It's been astronomical. But it's going to put a lot of smaller businesses out of a job. It's going to put them out of business. It will cover every aspect of living in this country. Same with energy prices. Now, I've got a feeling they're going to lift the cap again on energy because they want the energy companies to keep making these extortionate amount of profit because it means more taxes for them. The national insurance hike that they've been talking about. And believe it or not, Labour still can't define what a working man is. Who is a working man? But many small businesses, if they hike up the employers' payments for national insurance, they ain't going to be able to soak any of that up. Not with the other pressures on their business. And a lot more businesses will fold. Now, if they try and put the taxes up too high, start banging extra silly taxes in, all they're going to do is create a bigger black hole because they will lose out on taxes because people won't be there to earn it and pay it. If people get a pay rise, they'll be moved up into the higher brackets, as they've been saying. Even pensioners will pay more tax because they'll go up a bracket. This is how the thieving bastards will get the money. But they won't. They'll lose out. Yeah, 128 ain't cheap though, is it, Stuart? I mean, Christ, I can remember when a gallon of two-stroke used to cost 28 pence, and that was including the shot of oil. Yeah, the woman thing's reality. We know about that. But, she was asked, Raina was asked today again, what is a working class person? And she couldn't answer. She wouldn't answer. You think about it, there's people out there earning well over 100 grand a year that are working people. They work for a living. Are they working class? To me, a working class person is someone who is just above the breadline, someone who is getting by and struggling, but getting by. Not someone who can afford a holiday and a nice car, as Starmer seems to think. Next level down. That's what I would class working class. Those who are getting by but are struggling to do so. But that's just my definition. But I mean, yeah, there's nobody in here, but a nice message to the MPs on the Labour benches, MP councillors. There may be one or two watching this that are Labour supporters. If you've got aspects of climbing the ladder in the party, don't fucking bother trying. Because it seems most of the decent positions are being given to relatives of the front bench. Reeves, I think it is, has got her sister a nice little cushy position. Cooper, the Home Secretary, she's got some of her family in a nice cosy position. And what's his face? The Health Secretary. Fucking hell. West Streeting. He's actually been given a nice little cushy number, earning a nice packet for his fiancée. Funny how none of these have ever been in positions in government before, but all of a sudden they're up there high ranking. Just thought, isn't it? But that's basically everything I've got on my list to go through before we started. But if you're in here watching, the one that keeps giving me the thumbs down on the videos, regular, thank you for watching. Gives me that nice, warm, fuzzy feeling in my groin. The fact that you have to watch my video before you can put a thumbs down that sticks. So keep going. Thank you for the views. I don't give a fuck whether you like it or not. But if you don't, why bother watching? Just on a personal note, that one, people. But anyway, that's covered my list, being as I'm not going to be on too long tonight because I know my throat will die at some point. Let's get this up. And as the lovely Mrs. W noticed last week, I did put the link up to the StreamYard, but I didn't actually pin it. So it was just in the chat once and fucked off up.
Well done.
But yeah, my memory is shot. I mean, I've got a lot coming up. This is why I'm not doing a lot of videos at the moment. I've got a lot of correspondence going on, a lot of backwards and forwards and phone calls to hospitals and doctors, basically trying to collate a load of paperwork. Obviously, when you're on benefits, they want to see everything. So I'm going to make sure I've got everything. useful for Mr. W. Yeah, sure. I mean, I've had it quite a while. They pop up. I also get persecuted by YouTube. Yeah, that's all right, Holly. No worries. It's just there if anybody did want to pop up. Yeah, with YouTube to keep removing comments and the like. Oh, pardon me. I mean, one that got removed today. Let me find it. Was it that one? Yes. No, I can't see the chat for a minute there, folks. No, this is how ridiculous they are. That there, my reply to a comment, they removed and hidden. I can't see anything wrong with that. Is wigs a bad word? Is French a bad word? It was obviously removed by a bot.
You were dissing the French.
No, it was dissing the government, not the French.
To a bot, it doesn't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but there's no word in there that ever should have been removed that would
Like
even
French.
remotely get it removed. I mean, there was even a reply under a comment I pinned. Again, nothing bad. But YouTube seemed to deem these removing. You know? I've noticed I've lost a few subs. In fairness, it might be people just leaving. But good evening, Phil. But again, YouTube do remove people who aren't active on the channel if they've been subscribed to it for some time. Now, on average, my viewings are less than 100 views a video, and I've got over 500 subs. So there are people in there that signed up originally, I would have thought, that don't take any part of the channel. They might not even be on YouTube anymore. But it does seem that every time I slate YouTube, one subscriber disappears. Well, keep going, YouTube, because so I'm not worried about it. You knobs, they're just faceless cowards. As I've said many a time, they break their own core value every time they click on a button, every time they delete a comment. Their core value of freedom of expression goes right out the window, and it has done for some time. And it's only going to get worse now. They're going to be relying more on AI. Some of you, 579 to go. Yes. Some of you that follow me regular on Facebook. Thank you, Karen. Good evening, Scar. I've noticed I've stopped reacting to a lot of posts, mainly AI, because I think AI is going to absolutely ruin what's left of social media. So unless it's got a message with it, a personal message or whatever, like as some do, put a nice picture up with good morning or good night, then I just don't react to them. I scroll past them. There's, just telling a computer what to do and then posting something. There's no skill in that. There's nothing involved in it. I think that was 2 dishes in one. No, it's just my personal way. I mean, if I post a meme, it's either one that I've stolen from somebody else or shared, or I've gone and found a picture and created it myself. And it does take some time with some of these editing things, just to make up a simple meme, you know, meme, not mine, miming, no, meme. But yeah, you know, that's just my personal preference. Maybe I'm getting old. I don't know. But managed to say that. That's all right. If you're doing tea, Ollie, how could you? Yeah, it started out the week, Stu. I went up to 500 and was it 87 or 88 at one point. I know there's lurkers in the background on the live streams that will subscribe just so they can sit in the background. Normally, I'll get a notification that there's a new subscriber, but even that now with YouTube, I don't get alerts or notifications that people have commented. I do get the odd alert that some of the channels that I've subscribed to have posted, but that's about it. This is why sometimes it does take me a bit of time to get back to a comment or reply to it. It's because I have to go looking for them. Working on YouTube, if you're a creator now, even people I know that have been in touch with me that put just funny videos up, funny cat videos, funny animals, family videos, even they get the same thing happening to them. That's YouTube is just failing. It really is. I mean, I have got my feet under the table in another couple of platforms. I have got pages and accounts there. Not that I use them at the moment, but I do go in there to check and have a mooch around to keep them running. I have got a Rumble account. I have got a BitChute account, but BitChute are slowly catching up with YouTube on the censoring. Rumble is a bit more open, but it doesn't matter where you go. You still have to toe the line to a certain extent. The freest one at the moment seems to be Twitter, X now, isn't it? It's called. But even on there, that the authorities look on that one more than anything. Well, I'm just going to turn my camera off a minute because I want to do something that I don't want you to see. Let's just say I have an intimate itch. Are you looking?
What do you mean am I looking? I'm in the same bloody room.
Oh. That's better.
Well, it was, Karen.
Well, we got 24 in. Fair play. Let's fuck me throat up a bit more. Yes, they are, Stuart. They are. Yep, yes. Unfortunately, with Ofcom being put in charge of the online censorship now in this country, the online safety bill, as it was entitled, they don't seem to be doing anything to keep people safe. It's just being used as censorship. But again, now Are the government going to take over all these? Off what? Ofcom. They're already saying that they're going to try and wipe out Ofwat. They want a different body of people running the water supplies. And what's done about it? Well, don't forget Ofcom are already in the government's pocket. And Ofgem isn't far off with the way they've been pissing around with the energy cap prices. Although they do use that to a certain extent to frighten people.
Well, off Sharky, come on, Fergal.
Yeah, he's the one that's the water campaigning boy, isn't
he? Yeah, no.
But these water companies have had it too good for too long. They've absolutely ignored the maintenance that needs doing on the water supply system in this country. They've absolutely ignored the fact that the population's going up, so demand has gone up, and they haven't built any new reservoirs. That's why they're scrambling now to try and build new ones. And the ones they have got leak all the fucking time, and this is why there's a water shortage every summer, or we get a bit of sun. And all they've been doing is charging huge amounts of money for quite a bad service and pocketing the profits instead of reinvesting it in the company.
Please note, where we live, we haven't had a hosepipe ban in years. They have Severn Trent are pretty damn good.
Exactly. Surality, and new bosses have their snouts in the trough. Well, the new bosses will be the government, Scott. Because it will be a government body that take it over. Believe me, it won't be independent like they say. It will be a government-run one. Now, the problem with the drains and that, Surality, if you're thinking about the floods, now, I did explain this, and it's happened in other countries. Literally, it's where they built over what would be floodplains, where the water drains to the agricultural land. The water doesn't drain off like it used to. It doesn't soak in. It has to run on the surface. Now, the thing that gets me is you get somewhere like Dubai has got no real natural water supply other than salt water. So what do? They build a load of desalination plants.
They make it rain.
Yeah, make it rain as well. Yeah. Very good. But yeah, they've got loads and loads of desalination plants to supply their fresh water. You know, I dare say that they're not treating their sewage the same as we do. I dare say that's being pumped back out elsewhere. What have I got? A wiggy thing running across my table. Little bastard. But yeah, you know, we're surrounded by water. We're surrounded by the sea. Yes, sir. I mean, you know, a lot of countries do it. Okay, fine. You can't drink the water straight from the tap, but that's the only thing you can't do with it. Yeah, if services are in on your rent, though, Holly, you won't. I mean, I didn't down in Cornwall for some time. When I first moved down there, as I said before, I had a little cottage in the middle of nowhere. The water was fed by a spring. Okay, yeah, you took a chance whether you drank it straight from the tap or the spring, as it were. I always did, never had any issues, health issues with it at all. And my wastewater went into a septic tank, which I paid for to have emptied. So I didn't have to deal with any of the water authorities whatsoever. They did come out and say they were going to cut me off at one point because I've never paid a bill. Come and cut me off then. They turn up. We don't know where your water comes in. Well, I do. I know where it comes from. And it's fuck all to do with you lot. So you said you want to cut me off. Cut me off. Yeah, the trouble is, Holly, they even if you got free water, if you came off grid on the water and just used, say, I'm using it as an example, rainwater. If you're using a toilet and it's going into the main sewers, they can still charge you for that because obviously that goes through treatments. But I found it was cheaper rather than be connected up to the mains to have a septic tank. I was living there on my own. You know, I think I had it emptied once. And back then it was only, I think it was just over 100 quid. And that was 4 or 5 years worth of use. Yeah, that's the thing. We do get plenty of rain, but the water authorities have got nowhere to store it. So it just runs away. Cork. Do you mean chalk reality? Cork is filler, silicon.
Typo.
I'm not paying them to treat it. Yeah, well, that's the thing. Lost souls is when it rains. Well, even when it doesn't rain, as we've seen, they don't treat a lot of it, do they? This is why you can't swim safely on a lot of our beaches now. Oh, yeah, watch what you believe on YouTube as well. Changing subjects a bit quick. There's just something else that popped into my head I saw today. Someone's posted a video, allegedly, of boats landing at Dover on the beaches, dropping people off and pissing off again to pick more up. These are not coming to the UK. Those videos are from Europe or elsewhere. There has been no fast boats coming across the channel. Certainly none with 4,000 horsepower of motors on the back, 4 motors in line. And if you look on the beach where these people were supposedly landing, the road markings are clearly marked as left-hand drive. Whichever country that was, they drive on the left-hand side of the road. Yet people are claiming that's coming here, happening here. It's not. Always keep your eye out for stuff like that when people are posting videos. There's a lot of channels out there doing it and putting out false information. A lot of channels putting out the English news aren't even English channels. They'll have Union Jacks and St. George's flags plastered all over the fucking channel. But with a robot voice, if you go in and look at where the channel is, I found one that's posting British news under a Union Jack from fucking Nepal. There's several from Spain. France is a common one. Greece. And a lot of them on the Indian continent. So be wary of that. They're usually quite easy to spot because they're news and sorry about my breathing. The articles they're putting out are usually about a week behind. they'll have a headline pops. There was one today popped up. Oh, so and so gets absolutely destroyed at parliamentary prime minister's question time. But that was relevant to the one last week, not this week. But they put it out as breaking news.
You can't help being so up with the times, on trend.
No, you'd have to be sat in front of your computer and posting news as it happens. I mean, the Silver Fox, that's literally what he does. Some of the stuff he's posting is news literally within the last hour. I mean, I've posted one or two breaking news stories that way. If I found or I think that it's something relevant that people need to know immediately. Because I admit I'm sat in front of the computer most of the day. It's about all I can do nowadays with my health. I scored the other day. Said the sea was brown. Yeah, there's two reasons for it being brown, Scar.
Sand.
Where we go on holiday, if it's a muddy estuary and what have you, that is brown water. But if it's brown with fucking lumps in it, then yeah, I'd be worried.
It is brown all the time where we go, but it's still beautiful, clean. It's the sand.
Yeah, it's sand and mud. It's an estuary. The tides stir it up. You even get that down in Cornwall. Cornwall's got some beautiful clear water in the sea. Most of the beaches have got beautiful clear water, but you go up the estuaries and it is dark and brown and silty. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Stuart. There's quite a few of them. And I cottoned on to it. I questioned the fact that the AI voices they were using were American accents. But there are one or two now that are starting to use, but you can tell which ones they are. They miss punctuation. And you can tell it's like reading a book. Reading a book, if you talk about a subject, it's totally different to reading about it. You'd pronounce it different. You'd put it out different. The punctuation would be different.
They also speak English wrong.
Yeah, some of them do speak English wrong. And there is an awful lot of them out there now. And this is one of the reasons I don't like AI. Yeah, and you've got people, I won't mention any names, he's got quite a big channel and a big following. But there is one out there who absolutely is ridiculous. Basically, he goes live every now and again through the day with news stories, and basically they're identical to what's on mainstream media. So I believe that's where he's getting them from. They've recently moved because of threats to them, which I believe with the actions they've been doing, they brought on themselves. But one of the reports today actually said, over there in the UK. Now, I assumed that they were still in England. But when you say something like that, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? There's AI everywhere, Scar. Yeah, it's easy to spot, Holly. It's absolutely easy to spot. I mean, when I watch a video, I don't concentrate on the main subject of the video. I'll look what's going on in the background, the same as I do when I look at a news story. I'll look behind that story, and that's where I see the thing with the road. For a start, the boats they were using, they were what they call go fasts, similar to what the drugs runners use. 4 big engines across the back, 1,000 brake horsepower each. Well, the smugglers coming across the channel aren't going to fork out for stuff like that. All right, Karen, no worries, darling. As I say, I'm not going to stay late tonight. No way. I just haven't got it in me at the moment. And this isn't going to help. But
take care, Karen.
The only thing I think that will stop it and put it back to normal is start smoking again. And I ain't about to do that. But yeah, you watch some of these videos. It's easy to catch them out. Very easy to catch them out. And as Holly said, yes, Holly. Yes, Mum. Yeah, that was who I was talking about, Stuart.
She was telling me, I've got to tell you that, and I went, nah. So it doesn't surprise me that she's telling me.
I'm afraid, Mayor Tusi, yeah. Oh, they're gunning for me. I'm confronting them, this, that, and the other, while standing behind the police. Yeah, I just ain't got time for him. I haven't got time for him. Yeah, but think about it, Stuart. You're only an hour away from the UK by a plane. And some of the flights are dirt cheap now. Well, unless you're flying from Birmingham, of course.
Oh,
No, I've never liked his channel. No, I'm not saying he doesn't put out news, but the way he does it, he's like a mainstream reporter. He's got to, everything that's about me, it's, Yes, he is a very odd little man, Holly. I mean, fair enough. He's got foreign heritage, and yes, his background, they were persecuted. But when you see him say, "Oh yeah, I'm stood here with the big protests, this, that, and the other," and you look at it from another angle, and there's probably only about 30 people there, and they're a good 100 yards away from the main protest, to the point where the police aren't even bothered about them. They just stood behind some railings. But yeah, there's a few out there, sure, like that. There's people that will put themselves right in the thick of things. Yeah. And there's those that make out they're right in the thick of things. And this is one of the reasons I don't go to any of the protests, because of my health and the dangers to me. I would be in the thick of things, and I would get hurt, if nothing else, by the police, because of my attitude. It's got me into trouble more than once before. But not being able to walk 50 yards up the road now without gasping for breath or getting pains in my legs, it's just not conclusive with my health. And as I say, the worst thing on a big protest like London is I do usually constantly need to use a toilet, because some of the meds I'm on for me swollen legs and feet.
They'd be
So,
arresting you for peeing in a drain.
yeah, I could carry a bottle, but you're still going to have people around you. You know, you just stand there pissing in a bottle, and if you're walking around with a bottle and you're looking for a bin, the police are going to think, oh, yeah, he's going to start throwing that about. Yeah, it's the Tommy Robinson one in London, Holly. Saturday. Supposed to be the biggest one yet.
Depends how many people turn up, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, he had to move shirt, or so he says, through death threats. He did have people trying to kick his door in, apparently. I didn't see it or hear any of it while he was live one night. But there again, he does wind some people up. So I couldn't believe it. I can believe it. And like a lot of people, he's had death threats, allegedly. I wish I could get involved myself, Holly. Believe me, you've met me. You've met me quite a few times, and you know what I'm like, and you know what views I hold. But this is something going back to the new police reforms that they're trying to bring in. Channels like Dan's, they're going to have to be very careful about what they publicise about pending and open cases, especially if they start giving them the anonymity that they're talking about, because you could soon find yourself in contempt by, putting information out that they don't want out there at the moment. So, that's something that we're all going to have to be aware of. Yeah, it is, Scar. It's an absolute nightmare. The government was saying, the councils and that, we're closing down all the public toilets. You're quite welcome to go in shops and ask, or pub, but most of them won't let you use them. And the fact that you could be stood in the middle of a group of several thousand people, you still got to go out of your way, get through the crowd to try and find one, if there is one. So, it is a job for people with these problems. Yeah, you can use or get what they call Stadium Buddy. But there again, who wants a bag full of piss strapped to their leg and someone come up and give you a slap on the leg? It's only going to go back up the tube where it fucking came from, isn't it? Right, I don't want to itch my eyes without getting fuzzy. Let's try that other fucking camera again, see how we get on. Try that one again for a bit. Yeah, Heather's got the radar keys, Scar.
Yeah, but look at the issue we had while we were on holiday.
Yeah, they're not
Both
radar
the
locks.
toilets were locked, and neither of them were on a radar key.
Yeah. But this fucking camera now, I managed to last till 10 o'clock on Mrs. W Live last week and the week before. Was it the week before?
Yes, sir.
And I didn't have a problem with this camera. It lasted all night. It didn't freeze. Didn't go out of focus.
Picture, it doesn't like me.
Yes, Rolly, you could, I suppose, fill balloons up and throw them at the police or something. I shouldn't say that.
Don't encourage him, please.
That is not, I do not advocate doing that, people.
It was a joke. Bad taste, but a joke.
Yeah, and that's why I said I do not advocate doing it.
Yeah.
Cover my ass.
Yeah. Just reiterating the fact.
They can, Holly, but some of them have got separate bolts in them as well. I mean, if you're that worried about it, you put the key in the inside and lock it from the inside, leave the key in it. But when we're down at, when we're fishing, the nearest one to, other than where we fish, there is one just on the green there that we use. Well, I use the bushes, but obviously Mrs. W can't. The nearest one is, well, there ain't none in Silloth. Oh, there is. There's another one up on the green.
There is the one on the green, and I've read on the their Facebook page. Apparently now there's a really big disabled like wet room toilet next to those new toilets they've put up on the green. So there is a facility, but that's nowhere near where we are. But I could get in the car and go around there if that's where the nearest disabled toilet is. But why they don't put a radar key on one of the toilets down by the lifeboat house, I do not know, because that's where people walk.
Yeah, I know. I have no idea what you're on about there, Archstu. Yeah, hurty words will get you 3 years rather than 3 months, Scar. Mrs. Woman, the councillor's wife, what was it, Connolly? She got 2 years for a post.
I'm sorry, Archstu, I don't see how cleaning the air vents on your PC can help you get into a disabled toilet. I'm sure there's some logic there somewhere, but you know, hey.
There's more than enough fans on mine to blow the shit away. I've got 3 fans on this thing. It's an absolutely huge unit that someone built for me. It's absolutely brilliant. And I do. Heather showed me how to clean it out properly, and I have got the old air cleaner and stuff like that, which I do regularly, go in and defluff it.
It still doesn't help me get into a disabled toilet.
No, it still doesn't. Well, unless I stand here and piss in it, I suppose. But it's brilliant. It doesn't even get warm. Oh, I wonder where that had gone.
I don't need to piss any faster.
What's all this stuff ended up on top of that?
Because you put it there, probably. Because I didn't.
Yeah, oh, I don't know. Helps you pee faster. So does squeezing my stomach. Oh dear. That's it. Yeah, how did we get on to peeing? Oh God almighty.
Water tablets.
Water tablets, yeah, that was it, wasn't it?
Because there's no way you can go on this rally thing because of these bloody water tablets. Because you have to pee every 5 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, oh, this I don't know whether anybody's heard any more news on it.
I am.
If you're not watching that, babe, I'll let's go back to that. If you can keep an eye on the scroll across the bottom.
Okay.
That's on there now.
Okay.
These 3 people that have died in the care home down in Dorset. All right, Charlotte, cheers for dropping in, mate. Take care of yourself, bud. Yeah, the residents' home in
Carbon
Dorset.
monoxide poisoning is primary line of inquiry.
So that's the heating system then. Yeah, down in Swanage with 3 dying. I think it's 4 more in hospital. They've evacuated all the people out of it. But it's been going on most of the day and they've only just released possible causes, which
No,
is...
they said that they actually did say carbon monoxide first thing this morning, but they couldn't prove that and didn't want to say one way or the other because it might have been the other, and yeah. But it was looking like carbon monoxide poisoning this morning.
Well, it said that either gas or something, wasn't it? But someone's for the high jump on that one. But again, as well, another one today. 2 I've picked up on. One is this shit with Fayad being a bit of a pedo, a woman warrior. Did you just take the mute off?
Yes, darling. I'm hoping it's quiet enough it won't annoy you.
Well, the microphone will pick it up.
Well, I'm trying to figure out what they're saying rather than just read.
Well, go to subtitles then. And with Gascoigne's daughter now chirping in, like saying she was abused. Well, I think someone in her position and her father and mother's fame, she would have chirped up earlier. Now, I think a lot of these complaints against him are for the money. Compensation, more than anything. Rather than they can't actually do anything to him. He's dead. Harrods has been sold, so it can't be anything to do with the new company that own it. So I don't quite know what they're trying to achieve by that. But now we've got the teachers as well jumping on the bandwagon. Oh, we've been abused racially. We've been attacked. We've been bothered. We've been harassed. Everybody now seems to be having a problem with all this. And why? If it's been going on that long, why has nobody said about it before? Why has nobody brought it up? You know? Is it just about the money? Do they all want their 15 minutes of fame? Lucky's got... Oh, didn't you have problems with it up there, Jen, over the storm the other day? I know there was quite a blackout over some parts of Wales. I think Scotland got the worst of it, but mind you, Ireland was hit quite badly. But yeah, that's going to be the interesting one for the budget for a lot of people, is gas and electric. You know, if they lift, well, even if they don't lift the cap, the energy companies have still got quite a big scope to put the bills up, believe it or not, because they weren't. They might be working on the lines somewhere, Jen. And we know when ours is due to go off, because if it's high winds, we can see the high tension cables over the back here flashing as the wind's blowing them against each other. But we haven't had anything like that here, not for a long, long time. We've had the odd glitch where it's flicked on and off. I mean, that's only happened, once in the last 3 or 4 years? And that was, I think that was when there was a lightning strike or something. But, you know, I can remember all the blackouts back in the 70s and even into the 80s when we used to have them. Well, here's a good one tip for you people. Where is it? The budget is on Wednesday the 30th. So that is next week. So on Thursday, if you own a car or you use cylinder gas or anything like that, or you've got oil-fired heating, I would get everything filled up before then, because you can guarantee that when the prices go up, it doesn't matter whether they've got existing stocks or not, the prices will go up by the Friday. So fill up your cars, fill up your oil tanks, whatever, diesel. You know, it might save you quite a few quid in the long run. I mean, it will do us by filling up the car, because we don't do that much mileage now anyway. As Heather pointed out, I very rarely drive now unless it's to drive her to the hospital. But again, it's going to affect a lot of people for work. You know, not just employers and the prices in the shops. People drive to get to work.
They're not going to hurt the working man.
No.
As long as he catches the bus. Oh, but then maybe the buses are going to have to put their prices
yeah, they run
up
on
as well.
diesel. Of course they will. Their prices will have to go up.
Well, no, they can't, because that would hurt the working man.
And trains that aren't electric.
Well, that would hurt the working man, so they can't.
Well, there you go. More lies from Labour, isn't it? You know, that they actually got in power on a bunch of lies, and they've been completely running the country on a bunch of lies. And they've been caught out many a time. No, I wouldn't be at all surprised, and this is only from my point of view, that Reeves will give quite an easy budget, because I think if they do everything that people are saying, and the taxes are going to go up that badly, and prices are going to go up that badly, I think they could lose their positions. But they haven't seemed to worry about doing it and lying, up until now. So it's just something that could happen. Flyby, good evening, mate. It could go either way. With the stirrings in the ranks in Labour, they might even be out of a job before the budget with the way things are going. But, personally, I can't see Starmer being there by Christmas. I think the party will have him removed, because he's hurting the whole party. There's thousands and thousands of people that are members of the Labour Party, and they're not listening to any of them. Yes, Scott, he's been nothing but lies. Nothing but lies. The old saying is, how do you know when a politician's lying? Well, he's got his mouth open. In Starmer's and Reeves's case, absolutely 100%. And the thing is, to be a good liar, you've got to have a good memory. And he hasn't. But there are people out there remembered what he's said over the last few years and how different it is to what it is he's saying now. Even his own party haven't picked up on it and pulled him up on it. Members of the public have. And personally, although I can't abdicate doing it, those that have heckled him in public and called him out in public, that should happen everywhere he goes. He should not be able to come out in public without getting that sort of reaction. None of them should. You know, I'm not saying you should go out and do that because you could get yourself into trouble. But
I didn't know he was coming out. I know they said he was gay.
But I think this is why they don't publicise where he's going to be appearing. He will not face the public. He will face Labour supporters. And I know for a fact that when they visit factories and stuff like that, the factories sort out which staff are going to be around him and that he talks to before they get there. We used to get it in Leyland factory. In fact, we've had it in several factories where big wigs, government officials have turned up for a so-called visit. Right, we don't want you in there because of the way you speak. We don't want you in there because we know your views. And they'll remove you. The car factory, I can remember at one point, I can't remember which Prime Minister it was now. I can't even remember which party it was.
Edward Heath.
It might well have been Labour. It was at Leyland's. They shut down the whole factory for the day and only invited people in that they knew would support them. That's how it is. And that's how they do it. Yeah, he's not gay, but his husband is Scar. Exactly. Heard he has a love child. I don't know why I shouldn't think he's got a good fuck him, Jen. The only thing he knows is how to fuck people up. I mean, I like that meme on Facebook, you know, Marty from Back to the Future talking to the doc, you know, we've got to go back to 1961 and give the toolmaker a condom.
Hell yeah.
But, I haven't heard any more about this uncle that allegedly got sunk by a torpedo in the South Atlantic. I mean, that was when he got caught out on, but I haven't heard any more about it. I don't know whether anybody's proved that he did have one or he didn't. But yeah, anywhere, any of that front bench appear in public, people should be asking them questions. Fair play to that little old dear in the pub that went at him and the one that went after the Labour councillor and drove her out of the pub.
I'd love to know he was turning up somewhere. I could do with another day out.
Well, I'd love to know that Sunak was coming up here to open the fucking bakery. I'd have been straight up there and I would have made myself ill to walk up there. Because I would have given him
paid for parking.
Yeah. Well, I'd have just parked in B&M and then gone in and bought a bag of sweets or something and put the car number in the machine so you get free parking.
You could have gone and seen Sunak and I'd have still been driving around looking for somewhere to park.
But yeah, I'd like to have been up there for that. But I'm going to give it another half hour, people. I'll keep going till 9 o'clock. I ain't going to make it till 10 tonight. I mean, it's not too bad on Mrs. W's live on a Friday. It's her channel. She's doing all the work. But,
you want me to come up on channel with you?
No, you're all right.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, you talked. It's all right. I couldn't see the gypsy auditor. Good evening, buddy. But yeah, I mean, how soon? Well, we have got a Conservative council in the town. Birmingham Council is obviously Labour, but our local council is Conservative. And they've learnt their lesson about turning up on the doorstep canvassing as well. But these local elections that keep happening, don't forget that's going to happen next May as well. Now, even if you don't support any of the other parties, I would recommend, reform seem to be a bit iffy at the moment, but I wouldn't vote Labour. I'd definitely vote them out by voting for independents, and I certainly wouldn't vote for the Tories. They're in as much turmoil as Labour are at the moment. I voted for Reform, Gypsy, in the general. No, I wouldn't vote Lib Dems. Good God, no. I would go either UKIP or Reform if they're in the next round of local elections. I'm not saying they'd be any better if they got in power. Reform are a new party. They haven't really got any experience of running a country. Yeah, we voted Reform here, Gypsy. Certainly wasn't giving the Tories a vote, and there's no fucking chance I was going to vote for Labour.
Not quite like Nige.
As I said right from the beginning, the two choices were vote Tory for a slow death or vote Labour for a fast death. And it looks like Labour are doing a pretty good job of killing people off.
We're dead. 100 days.
Can't be much. No, exactly, Scott. Exactly, mate. They couldn't do any bigger balls up of it than these last two have already. And it's about time one of the smaller parties actually had a go. You know, you can forgive mistakes if they're genuine mistakes. But what you can't forgive is them fucking it up deliberately, which Labour are doing.
But they know what they're doing. It's
of
not
course
a
they know.
deliberate fuck up. They're trying to put it right.
I mean, it's like his bullshit the other day.
Lie.
We want to fix the NHS. No, we haven't listened to a word you've said since we got in power, but we want you to tell us how we're going to fix it. Good evening, Loafer. I haven't seen her latest one. She's done some good ones, I will admit. Intel Lady. If nobody's seen her, go and have a look. She does rip the piss out of Rayner and that. She really does. But yeah, he wants to fix the NHS and now he wants us to tell him how to do it.
Get rid of all the fucking managers.
Yep, that's what I said. They got, 600 diversity and inclusion managers. Well, they don't affect anybody's health unless they fuck up people's mental health. They don't help people. They stop the right people getting the jobs that are needed. No, I'm a great believer. I don't give a shit what the colour of your skin, what race you come from, or even what country you come from. If you're the best person for the job, then you should be the one that gets it. Your job should not be given you on the colour of your fucking skin. Yes, Jen, I mean, it worked for years, didn't it? Having a matron, one manager. And when you think now every bloody ward has got a manager, an under manager, a secretary.
And a matron.
And a matron as well. A head nurse. Too many chiefs. And most of them aren't working. They're sat at a desk. It's the pen pushers that need to be sorted. bringing in AI. Well, I can't see how that's going to help in the NHS. The biggest help the NHS could get, other than the way they employ people, is the different departments, the different hospitals, and the GP surgeries all working together on the same fucking page. And at the moment, they're not. Exactly, Scar. I don't care what colour that their surgeon would be, as long as he's a competent surgeon and he can carry out my surgery properly. That's all I'd be worried about. I mean, I said it last time when I ended up in hospital. They had one guy doing my ECG and he was trying to tell me the results, and I couldn't understand a fucking word he was saying. And I actually asked one of the nurses. I said, look, can you tell me what the results are? I said, because I just cannot understand him.
Well, was it one of them said we struggle to understand him as well?
Any good reason to suspect he will turn? Not a chance, Russell. Not a chance. The only reason he would take advice from us is so when he fucks it all up, he can blame us. And that's exactly what he'll do.
It's what you wanted.
He'll put in what he wants and he will turn round and say, well, that's what you asked me to do and look how it's gone wrong. They will never, ever take the blame for anything themselves. Politicians can't do it. They cannot not admit their mistakes unless they're caught out and it's forced out of them.
I'm sick of listening to lies.
And that's all you get from them. That's all you get from them now is lies. Now, Starmer said back during the Partygate that anybody misleading Parliament and breaking the rules should step down. Well, look how many times he's broken the rules. How many times has he misled that House since he's been in power? Yet he's still there. To me, that says it all. The guy's got no integrity. He's got no morals. And he just seems to absolutely hate the British, especially the older folk. Good evening, Gordo. Bit late in, mate. I'm only going to be going for about another 20 minutes. I'm surprised my eyes is lasting this long, actually. But the painkillers aren't doing anything towards my headache. And this thing's, I'll put it down, it certainly ain't helping my throat and my breathing. But yeah, I know if he stuck to what he said and what he asked the others to do from the Tories, then he should have already stepped down. So should Reeves. No, carry on, Gordo. A lot of people don't look in there, but I look in it now and again if people are posted in there. Oh, to be honest, even Dan's Discord doesn't get as much visits now. There is one that goes in there every day and posts links to videos in off topic.
Gordo, do you want to come and sort out my garden, please?
No, that's what it's there for, Gordo. Don't worry about it, mate. When I do go in there, I do give a response to stuff that's posted. But I only literally opened that a bit quickly one night. There was a lot going on, a lot of shit flying around. And I was in a very, very dark place. And I just needed somewhere to go and have a chat with my very close friends without anybody else poking in. And that's initially what I set it up for. No, it's interesting, Gordo. It's interesting, mate. There's a lot like that. that I had planned out the back here before I started to feel
I was going to
really
say
ill.
I'd show you my gazebo, but
I was going to redo the patio, raised flower beds so Heather could work on them, and stuff like that. I got around to making some raised troughs, but that was about it. But there was so much put out there that it's just unmanageable. Too many plants. We've got to get a skip in and get rid of a lot of shit from out there. Oh, pardon me. Well, I even had to get my mate round to cut the grass for me last time. I was managing it myself, not as well as I used to, but just keeping it down and manageable. It needs cutting now, but at the moment I haven't got the energy to do it, and I really do want to get it cut down before the winter. So I've got to get out there and do it, even if I do it over several days. It's not a big garden, but it takes it out of me cutting. Yeah, this is the thing, Stuart. I mean, the brain drain from the NHS was it's been coming for years. It was obvious it was going to happen because they started relying more and more on foreign staff. A lot of them that were only given visas so they could work here. And obviously, as things improved in their own countries and the money was better there, it was plainly obvious that they were going to leave and go back to their own countries. And we haven't got English staff to replace them because they stopped training. And sadly, the health profession, as you know, or those of us of a certain age know, back in the day, most of the people that worked in the NHS were devoted to the job. They actually took the jobs because they wanted to be trained up to help people. But now most people see anything like that as a job, end of. It's a job that pays a wage. There are people that are still devoted to helping people, and they're the good ones that are in there. I've got a self-propelled one up.
Can't keep up with it.
Yeah, I can't keep up with the fucking thing. But yeah, it was a vocation. Most of the younger ones in there now, no disrespect to the nurses, but most of them see it as just a job. I mean, I don't like going to the hospital at all, because it's so dragged out most of the time. Oh, that's something on Facebook, is it? Okay. Something on X. Well, I don't do X, so I don't know why I'm getting an alert for that. Daily Express. Pensioners wake up to £450 missing payments. Okay. Be aware, people, that I don't usually have stuff open while I'm live. my brain just won't let me multitask. Another fishing ship to metal lures. Yeah, this time of year, Gordo, as it's getting into the cold weather. Yeah, there might be one or two bass around. That fucking camera's frozen again. Look. We'll go back to that one. The lesser quality one.
Playing with Jen, she's frozen. There
No,
you
no,
go.
she's telling me I'm frozen again.
There you go.
More practice, more casting,
There you
using
go.
heavy lures. Well, what I used to do for casting practice, Gordo, is do it over grass. Find a big field somewhere, take the hooks off. I mean, for distance casting, we just used to use plain weights. I mean, I used to do competition casting years ago. But you can do the same with lures. You can improve your accuracy that way. Um, that's how I taught Heather to cast. We went down on the beach at low water, and I just put some markers out at certain distances, so she knew exactly how far she was casting.
And the cyclists going past on the road took the piss out of
Yeah,
her.
there's the cyclists going past shouting, "You ain't going to fucking catch anything there, mate, until there's waters there." But yeah, you do have to put up with that sometimes. But casting is all timing, Gordon. These that will tell you it's power, strength. It's not. Most of casting, to be accurate and distance, is timing. Yes, you have to have a certain amount of strength to load the rod up, but most modern rods, if you get the timing right, the rod will do all the work.
What the fuck?
I mean, I did put a short video up a couple of years back of me casting several different rods and reels up in Cumbria. Yeah, you got to have the right reel to do one-handed though, Flyby, and them tiny little lure rods that you'd use them single-handed bait casters on. Not a lot of good for the sort of stuff that we do. Yeah, they're great on, as you say, ponds and rivers. If you're piking, perching. I mean, I even used to use lures to fish for chub, believe it or not, in the winter. Could always sit around my pond. Yeah, but don't forget, Gordo, you'd have to have a rod license to fish it, mate. There's very, very few places around the country now, freshwater fishing, that you can actually fish without a rod license. In fact, I only know of one off the top of my head, and that's my hometown of Abingdon. If you're a resident of Abingdon, then you can apply for a permit from the council. And back in the Magna Carta, it was decreed that Abingdon stretch of the Thames was always going to be free to fish for the townspeople. But you do have to buy a permit, but you don't need a rod license. Yeah, I used to do a lot of carp fishing, Flyby. I've been down to the Ebro and everything, down in Spain, France, fishing for the big ones. They do, the Environment Agency do police it quite regular now, especially on the lakes. Any lake fishing and carp fishing, you do regularly get the inspectors coming round. And on some of the lakes, you actually have to show your rod license before they'll let you fish them. And there are quite stiff penalties for fishing without a license. But the carp boys, they probably pay more than most, because most carp anglers, serious carp anglers, will use 3 rods at a time. They'll have 3 lines out. Well, the rod license only covers you for 2. So to fish with 3, you need to buy 2 licenses, effectively. I'd been asked a few times when I used to do carp fishing, if you got your permit, you got your day ticket, your night, weekend, week ticket, whatever. Have you got your rod license? Most of the clubs I fished with and the waters I did fish, you actually had to show it, as I say. You had to show your rod license before they'd let you even book in. It could be anything, Stuart. Some of the top carp lakes will charge quite big fees. I mean, the last time I actually went, where was it? If I remember, the last time I actually went carping was St. John's Lakes, St. John's in Oxford. And that was over £100 for 3 days, I think it was. Mind you, that was some time ago. It may have changed by now. Even if you go down Spain, south of France on the Ebro, you still have to pay a local license in there, especially if you're fishing for catfish, the big ones. And I would recommend, if you ever get to do that, that you do have a fishing guide. It helps a lot, and it's safer. Yeah, you do, Flyby. You have to book a peg on most of them. They've only got a certain number of marked out pegs, and if you get ones like Dorchester Lake, St. John's Lake, any that have got big, well-known carp in them, or big carp waters, there's usually quite a waiting list. Yeah, that's the rod license, Gordo. Trout fishing, I think you'll find that comes under most places under the gaming license for game fish, which is salmon, trout. That one is quite expensive. That's a different one. And obviously salmon fishing is expensive anyway. Most salmon beats are privately owned, and it's an elite sport, as they class it. So it can be very expensive. Yeah, you can pay a day license, Gordo. You can pay for a day license. It works out expensive, but if you only go a couple of times a year, it can be a cheaper option. Yeah, but golf, sure, it's very similar to fishing. It can cost you as much as you want it to. From what I've seen, golfing, like fishing, you got your what we call tackle tarts. You know, they've got to have the new version of everything. I mean, one of the rods I use out there is a 20-year-old Century. You know, I mean, even my carping gear. Yeah, in fairness, me best carping rods were freebies because I used to be sponsored by Century. So they used to give me the rods, or I used to get them dirt cheap. But once I had the set, I never changed them. I never thought, oh, there's a new model out this year. You know, it's the same as last year. It's just got different graphics on it. Yeah, for several of them, Stu. You've got coarse fishing and game fishing, essentially, on freshwater, and that's 2 different licenses. Sea fishing is unlicensed. Obviously, there are private areas, private beaches, stuff like that, where you won't get charged a license. They just say you're not allowed to fish. Yeah, there you go, Gordo. 90 quid a year. Again, it can cost you more depending on which beats you're on. Yeah, exactly the same, Stuart. I mean, the only time I buy new tackle now is if it's replacing something that's got broken. In the last 5 years, I've had to replace 2 reels, basically because I bought cheap, nasty little Chinese copies just to get back into it. And after 2 of them broke, I realised my mistake. So again, I bought one fairly cheap one, a new one, and I bought a second-hand one that I used to use, the same model that I used to use 20, 30 years ago. As long as you look after them, they still do the same job. I mean, we only use them once a year at the moment, but I still service the reels when we get back before they get stored. Oh, they do a 3-rod license for carp fishing, do they? That's how long it is since I've been, Gordo. But essentially, I mean, hook-wise, I got hundreds of hooks out there because I bought bulk in all the different sizes. It was cheaper. Leads, I make my own leads. You got an Italian rod. Believe it or not, Gordo, a lot of the top rods now that are coming out, so I've been told, are Japanese. Believe it or not. I mean, I still use Sentries. I stick with my Sentries. It's what I know. It's an English company that I trust. Their top rods are very, very expensive, but I don't use the top gear anymore. I don't fish for competition. I fish for fun. Not in sea fishing, Stu. They're banned on freshwater, but not in sea fishing. Let's say they're French, Gordo, I think, if I remember rightly. They might be Italian, but they are unfortunately one of the cheaper range. They're same as their reels. They're copies of the Abus and Daiwas. Yeah, they might well be Italian. I know they're European. But that's where I went wrong. I bought these cheap fishing reels because they look the same as the old Abus and the Daiwas, and unfortunately, obviously, the quality build of them is shit. All right, Jen. Yeah, I'm going to be winding up in a minute anyway, darling. Yeah, Fladden's another one. A lot of their gears are copied, especially the reels. I mean, I've got Abu, Daiwa, and I can't remember what the other one is now, but it is essentially a copy of an Abu that I use. Do you know, I can't remember the make of your reel now because you use fixed spools. Huh? No, that's your rod.
Oh, the reel.
Again, it's an old make that's trusted. Yeah, there you go, Gordo. I mean, the cheapest rod that we've got out there that I use is, well, they're about 300 quid now. My other one, my second Century, when it was new, they were well over 500 quid.
And he says he's not a tackle class.
Yeah, that's not what I paid for it, though, buying it second hand. Heather's reel was 90 quid.
And it's, what, 130 now?
Yep. And my big Daiwa reel, my heavy duty one, Um, they're quite cheap, actually. You can buy them for under £100 now. But when they were first out and new, I used to have a pair of them. And again, they were well over £200 each. Yeah, that's it. When you're fishing for fun, Gordo, it doesn't really matter. You know, you still catch the same amount of fish. You know, I gave up competition fishing years ago, many years ago.
Like Shakespeare?
No. Fucking hell, I can't remember the name of it now. My memory's getting worse.
No,
I'm trying to think. It is an old make, but they still make damn good reels. That's why I got you that one, because it'll last.
No, I'm looking and thinking, well, it's not a pen. It's not.
Yes, it is a pen.
It is a pen.
Is it a pen? Yes, it's a Surf Blaster. Yeah.
There you go.
See, triggered the memory.
Yeah. But I brought pen out.
No, it's not Shimano. Shimano are silly prices. Flyby. Yeah, well, that's what we did, Gordo. When we decided to give it a go, I hadn't fished for years. I'd got rid of all my tackle, living inland. So literally, I went out and I paid £50 for 2 rods, 2 cheap divers. I bought the cheap reel for myself and a cheap fixed spool for Heather because she uses fixed spool. Just to give it a go to see how she enjoyed it. I knew I'd enjoy it, but if she didn't enjoy it, then it wasn't worth spending a lot of money on gear that I wasn't going to use. I wouldn't go anywhere near Timo, Gordo. But she absolutely enjoyed it from the first time I took her out. She sat out there till nearly 2 o'clock in the morning in a forceful gale just to catch a couple of dogfish.
But I am a night owl.
So she could say that she caught something.
I wasn't going home without catching.
Then a few years ago, when I asked her what she wanted for Christmas, she said, I want my own rod and reel. So that's what she got. I got her a half decent rod and a good reel. And treated myself, well, I say treated myself. It was a Christmas present, sort of, me new rod. That's the, it's the Century Fireblade. I used to use the original Century Fireblade. This is their new one. It's their base model. It's not one of the top ones. And for a heavy duty rod, I bought a second hand rod Century, which I only paid £100 for. That's the thing with freshwater fishing, Stu. Unless you're game fishing, you've got to throw stuff back. Even with the game fishing, there's a limit on how many you can keep.
Well, this year was the first year we caught anything big enough to eat.
Oh, we've caught stuff big enough to eat before.
No, that was worth keeping.
That was worth keeping. And that was the Dover sole I caught on the last day. And it tasted bloody handsome.
All right. Well, good.
Yeah, I would not order anything from Timo, Gordo.
All right. We're not fishing stuff.
I mean, I prefer looking for second-hand stuff that I know, stuff that I've used in the past. And yeah, it might look a bit rough around the edges sometimes, but I know how to service the reels, fix the reels. I know how to whip rods.
Whip me, whip me.
I've actually, Gordo, if I can find them, I'll put some pictures in Discord. The lures I've got, including some big ones, I actually made myself. And they're quite easy to make as well. Well, some of the wooden ones that are lead loaded and lacquered and painted up aren't that easy, but there are little metal ones that you can make yourself. You could do it quite easy, and they do work. And it's just fun. I like using gear that I've made myself. Yeah, I make every single rig we use, Gordo, even my feathers. I tie them and make them myself. The best thing about a shop bought rig is the bag they come in.
What's a sabiki?
They're lures and stuff.
Okay.
And I've got rig wallets where I tie my own rigs, fill the wallets up of different types, everything from shark and rigs, right up to harbour and flatty rigs, mackerel feathers, sandeel feathers. It's just what I was going to say, Gordo. You'll be surprised how many lures you can find. If you think about it, you get a spoon, cut the handle off, bend it into the right shape, ring on both ends, swivel on one end, hooks on the other, you've got a lure. And also using the dish of the spoon, you've got a flatty lure, what they call a spoon. It's actually
Wasn't
called a
allowed
spoon.
near my cutlery drawer because it was new cutlery.
Rig wind. Yeah. No, I just got rig wallets. I've got everything in there from £300 wire with 10 and 12 O hooks on, which are about that big, right down to probably, what size would it be now? Probably a size 12 or 10 carp hooks. The only reason I use rigs is it keeps them dry. I always, when I've used it, I never use a rig twice. And then when we get back off of holiday, a couple of months before we go in the next year, I'll go through and see which rigs we've used and just tie new ones up. I make my own leads. I made enough a few years ago that we've got quite a few years worth out there of all sizes. I've got the moulds and that out there. Some of the moulds are homemade, some of them are bought. Even the wired leads, gripper leads and that I make myself. Right, I'm gonna.
Oh, pretty spoons, Gordo.
Yeah, I'll have to dig mine out, Gordo. They're out in the shed. But I've got some quite big. Oh, look, that camera's gone fuzzy now. I've got some big bass lures and stuff like that. Wiggly lures, multi-hook lures. That's because I moved. Look. Yeah, that's having none of it. Right, I'm going to... Oh, there he goes. That's back. Right, I'm going to call that it, guys. Thank you very much for dropping in tonight. I'm going to have an early night. My throat is killing me. As far as I know, and at the moment, the plan is Mrs. W is going to do her live on Friday night, as usual. Thank you, Marines. But yeah, as always, much respect from everybody. I hope I gave it you all back. And I will be here hopefully next week. JW, good evening. Yeah, just shutting down, mate. I'm absolutely raw here. My eyes are still working, but my throat's packing up and my breathing's gone do-dally again. But as always, have a safe week. Don't get into too much trouble. Take care if you are going to London Saturday. It's going to be busy. Watch your backs. There will be some counter protests. I can guarantee that. But don't rise to them. Don't give them what they need. So until then, as always, stay safe. Stay strong. Stay free. And it's good night from me.
And good night from the back half of the room.
Take care, peoples. Look after yourselves.
Catch you Friday if you're there.